story. Just into our newsroom tonight, we're learning two people are facing charges in connection to the deaths of two young kids whose remains were hidden in a metal container and a suitcase. The gruesome discovery was made in Colorado, but the kids were originally thought to be here in Arizona. 35-year-old Jesus Dominguez Jr. and 36-year-old Corena Rose Minjarez are facing charges of murder and abuse of a corpse.
Brianna has been following this story as well. Brianna, what have you uncovered here?
Oh, we just reported on this 2 weeks ago, and I feel like this is the worst possible outcome we could learn for these two kids. We have a lot more now. Police originally thought those kids were alive here in Phoenix. We now know they're both dead. One found in a metal container, the other in a suitcase. One of the suspects is also still on the run. It was 2 weeks ago we reported that little Jesus and Yesenia Dominguez had been missing since the summer of 2018. Pueblo, Colorado police discovered this as part of their investigation into a child's remains found in a metal container in a storage unit. Well, their police sergeant says at the time they didn't know whose remains those were, and during the investigation, they learned the two missing kids may be here in the Phoenix area, so detectives were working with law enforcement here in Arizona to try and find them. We now know that was a lie, allegedly concocted by Corena Minjarez and Jesus Dominguez. You see them here on your screen. They're charged in their deaths. Pueblo police say they were both interviewed as persons of interest in the case and mentioned that Yesenia and Jesus could possibly be in Phoenix. Detectives later learned that was not ever the case. Eventually, Yesenia was identified as the remains in the metal container. And after a search warrant of Corena Minjarez's car, they found remains in a suitcase in the trunk, later identified to be those of Jesus Jr. Minjarez and Dominguez were both charged for 2 counts of first-degree murder and 2 counts of abuse of a corpse. But as of now, only Minjarez has been arrested with a $2 million bond. Police say right now, Jesus Dominguez's whereabouts are unknown, guys.
Do we know anything about the investigative techniques they used to identify the remains of the children? Were they using genetic genealogy, anything like that?
No, so that was actually a case where they don't need that technique. Once they found the child's remains in that metal container, it went straight to the ME's office, the medical examiner. They waited that review, that investigation. That's how they were able to identify that person as Yesenia, who was very young at the time. It was DNA. And then when they interviewed them in the case, found that these two adults were related and found the suitcase that had Jesus Jr.'s remains inside, they had the DNA right there and were able to test that, and it was a positive match.
Just terrible. Brianna, thank you for your reporting.